What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna react to Billy Carson, the numerous secrets NASA won't tell you about Billy Carson. So I'm excited to get into this because, as we all know, like be a lot of stuff going on, like Area 51 and stuff like that. Like, but if we know about that, there could always be stuff that we don't know about that you know the companies with the most technology or abilities capabilities do. So it's always interesting to, for me at least, to watch, to learn about this. So it's what we about to do. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into the video.
What's going on, everyone? Well, what if I told you that NASA and the European Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, even the China Space Agency, and all the astrophysicists and astronomers at their core have taken most of their information about the formation of our solar system and the formation of even galaxies itself from some very ancient texts known as the Enuma Elish and the Seven Tablets of Creation. What if I told you that even that text itself has found its way through a parallel version into some religious text? What if I told you that we are living on a fragment of what was formerly a much larger planet? We're going to talk about that tonight on the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast. Forbidden Knowledge Television.
This is logged in on November 25th, 2023, Eastern Standard Time. Sensitive material has been breached and it is now in front of the public. This is very sensitive documentation and the world will be in total chaos if leaked, and it is now leaked. All of it. Not one document, all of it. Place of exploitation, Forbidden Knowledge Television. This must be stopped.
All right, welcome in, everyone. Make sure you click that like button and make sure you please, again, share this video and also subscribe. So most people who somehow come across the account, they'll see it, they'll vibe with it, they'll resonate with it, but somehow, sometimes, some way we just forget to subscribe. So please subscribe to the channel. Please click the like button. This is one of my 5
Facts. If y'all interested in knowledge and stuff like that, that's not really spoken about. Like he's one of them ones as well. He goes into detail about these things. And there's a lot of other people too. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, facts. Check them out.
YouTube accounts. Of course, I have four other accounts. This is just one of 5. This is the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network. So make sure you guys please go ahead and click that like button, share the video, and again, please subscribe. Also, encourage other people to subscribe to this platform. All right. So a lot going on, obviously. But tonight we're gonna get back into the Enuma Elish and the 7 Tablets of Creation. I'm going to live stream in with you a actual keynote lecture that I did with PowerPoint on the Enuma Elish. So shout out to everyone in the live chat. I see the live chat filling up. We need to get this thing up to at least 1,000 plus. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. All right. But So, what is the Enuma Elish? It's an ancient Babylonian tablet. Actually,
Hold on, I'm gonna try to answer this before he does. See if I'm right. Isn't it like didn't Thoth or Anubis? Nah, I think Thoth. I think didn't he make that? Or if not, that has something to do with like Anunnaki, maybe. I don't know, but we gonna see.
fragments of different tablets. There are 7 of them. And they go in great detail to describe the formation of our solar system itself. They go into great detail to talk about collisions, planets, and moons, and debris getting thrown about. They go into great detail talking about how planets captured their orbits and everything else. It's really pretty interesting. It's really pretty interesting. So, to me, it's an exciting story, right? I really like when I read this stuff, man, it's like I'm watching a movie playing in my head, and it just takes me back in time. It's like I'm traveling hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years into the past to experience and relive everything that happened before we were even here. And what's even more remarkable to me is that our ancestors laid down this information with a stylus and wet clay and left it as a time capsule for us today to be able to pick up, decode it, learn about it, discern it, and really get some knowledge as to who we are and where we came from, how far we've even come, how many cycles have we risen and fallen from. How did Earth even get to be here? According to these tablets, it's a very, very interesting story. Bella Dora's in the live chat. What's up, Bella? Got a lot of great people in the live chat. Anne Marie, who's always so supportive as well. Richard, and they call me Four Souls, and so many other great people. Patricia and everyone else is here. Thank you all for your support, really over the years being here. What's up, Lisa? Got a lot of Forbidden Knowledge Academy members in the house. Tony, Deepa, Sandre, wow. Bridget Moon, so many people here. R Hoop, RJ Hop. Kick, I don't have my glasses on tonight, y'all can tell. Kick Up Bad, Richard. I left him upstairs and I was like, ain't no way in the hell I'm going all the way back over there to get these damn glasses. I'm gonna have to struggle tonight. All right. So bear with me. Bear with me. Anyway, but yeah, this text is really key because it's some of the oldest text that we can get our hands on. And the text is so incredible that it mentions Nibiru, the famed ancient planet of the ancient Sumerians. You know, it mentions Nibiru. It's one of the only places you could find the name of that planet that actually existed. And then that planet crashed into Tiamat. And that collision between technically not Nibiru itself, but the moons orbiting Nibiru that crashed into Tiamat created this situation where a huge chunk swung away and actually became the Earth. It recoalesced, taking the waters and everything else. And I'll talk about this in a lecture. I'm going to pull this. It's not the full lecture because we'd be here for 3 hours. But what I did was I had our editor chop it down to just maybe about 10 or 12 minutes. And I want to pull that up into this live stream right now and just let it run. I did this lecture probably about 4 years ago. It's a keynote that I did on the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. All right. So we'll kind of pull that in. And thank you all. Thank you again, Living Legend, for the donation. Appreciate you. And by the way, these donations that y'all make here in the YouTube live chat and everywhere else, if you're making anything anywhere else, we give and match 100% of those donations to several different charities. One is underprivileged children in Miami who can't afford their graduation. They can't afford the cap and gown. They can't afford grad night. They can't afford senior night. And they can't even afford to pay for their walk across the stage to get their diploma. And I did a podcast about that on this YouTube account with the head of the fire department that's in charge of me and him and I are actually alumni. And he runs the alumni program for the school down in Miami, the Miami Norland alumni. And so I had him on the podcast to talk about this and talk about how important it is. Okay. So this money goes to help these kids. And right now we're in the second place. My graduation year is in second place for helping out these kids and giving out scholarships to these kids so they can afford to do the things that they should all be able to do. Okay. So thank y'all for these other little donations. I appreciate that. It's really a great help. Believe it or not, even a penny is a help. And I match it. And so right now our alumni is up to, I believe we're at 5,200 or 5,300, just my graduation year. But overall, the entire going back, I think as early as maybe 83, going up as new as 2022, we're a little over $20,000. And every year we need 15,000, which is great. Now, next year's kids already have some money, some scholarship money in the hopper. And then I also do underprivileged children, mothers and husbands, or mothers and fathers, with children, final notice light bills. We pay their single family final notice light bills. We do that to the tune of 14 to 15,000 a year. And then also we're doing so much. The Congo, the orphanages I support in the Congo. So all those things are kind of where this extra money goes. Okay, so I'd appreciate you. Thank you so much. Been a great help. So tonight we're going to be talking about, if you just chime in, we're going to be talking about the Enuma Elish. I'm going to play this edited version of my keynote on this topic. That's probably about 4 years old, but it's still extremely relevant right now today. And if you've never been to one of my lectures, if you've never been to one of my actual live in-person keynote speeches, lectures, workshops, you'll get to see some of the vibe, some of the energy. It's been sped up just a tiny bit to make sure I keep it a little bit more compact, but just pay attention, listen closely, and turn up your volume, all right? A little bit about the Enuma Elish, the 7 tablets of creation to start off. And what you need to understand is the Enuma Elish is an ancient cuneiform group of tablets that really talk about the creation of our solar system, the very, very beginnings of the whole thing, how we even got here. These are the actual tablets. These are the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. What you'll find is that the Bible is mostly this text right here. Dividing the waters from the Genesis is mostly here. Separating the waters from the waters, the creation of man in our image, all of that really, in the creation of the earth, the solar system, it's all in these tablets right here. It's a real amazing story. Even the then preceding enslavement of mankind is also in these texts as well. And the reason for the enslavement is there as well. The Atrahasis is also another amazing text. This is also another account written at another time, also telling the similar story of beings coming from another place and coming here to earth and engaging mankind. Now,
Yeah, but how did they read it though? Like, it looks like broken up and everything. And what language was it? I'm curious.
interesting about this, and what really is important about this, is to understand in this time frame when these tablets were being copied and created, people didn't have time to become, George Lucas, right? They weren't inspired by George Lucas to create these incredible sci-fi movies on tablets. These people were scribing specifically what they were told to write by their God or their Lord or their master, or they were writing what they were experiencing themselves at that time. And we know that Uranus, which is a planet that's in our solar system, was affected by a gravitational object that came through the solar system, which is why it's tilted on its side. I don't know if you knew that, but Uranus doesn't have an equatorial orbit this way. It's actually tilted and almost flipping end over end on its side. And the reason why this is important, because in the Enuma Elish and the Atrahasis, it talks about an actual planet or something large coming through our solar system, okay, in ancient times, talking about millions of years ago, and affecting the gravitational fields and also the orbits of all the planets and moons in our solar system. And so now we know this is true because science, they teach you this in astrophysics classes in college. Something huge was gravitationally captured by our solar system and came through, just like these stone tablets say. So when the stone tablets start backing up information that modern science is just now finding out, I have to think that they're probably as close to the truth as we're possibly going to get. We know that something giant came through here, and actually over several passes, which took thousands of years, it started yanking and yanking and yanking until Uranus flipped on its side. Now, a lot of people know this as the Milky Way galaxy, and you can see where the sun is actually showing you exactly where you are right here in one of these, in the suburbs of the Milky Way, right? A nice quiet area, just far away from the galactic equator for us to have a nice, quiet area of space where there's not a lot of catastrophe going on consistently. Stars are moving at a very decent speed around the galactic equator, whereas if you were closer in, your star would move much faster, which would age you much faster, right? But what's interesting is, how did we get here? Scientists know that we're not from here. Now, I'm going to read this science article to you, just a couple of sentences for it. It says, imagine the shock of growing up in a loving family with people who call you mom and dad, and then suddenly learning that you were actually adopted. This happens in real life. How can this be? Using volumes of data from the 2-micron all-sky survey in 2-mass infrared mode, a major project to survey the sky in infrared light led the University of Massachusetts, and the astronomers are now answering this huge question that have baffled scientists for decades, proving that our own Milky Way galaxy is consuming one of its neighbors in a dramatic display of ongoing galactic cannibalism. The study, published in the Astrophysical Journal, is the first.
Damn. See, I've been into space since I was a kid. I never heard. Well, I mean, actually, galaxies in the middle of every galaxy is a black hole. So yeah, never mind. But yeah, I take that back.
First step to map the full extent of the Sagittarius galaxy and show it visually in vivid detail, and how its debris wraps around and passes through our Milky Way. Sagittarius is 10,000 times smaller in mass, and so it's getting stretched out, torn apart, and gobbled up by the bigger Milky Way. So if you ever go night watching out in the night sky in a nice area with no light pollution, and you look up at the sky and you see that giant band of stars whipping across, and you go, man, it's the Milky Way. Guess what? You've been wrong the whole time. It's not the Milky Way. Now, this is all the science books have already been rewritten. They've already been rewritten. It's the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. Why is this important? Because right where the Sagittarius dwarf, not the Sagittarius constellation, the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, right where it actually merges and meets, there's a little tiny dot. I don't know if you can see it, a little tiny yellow dot where it meets and is being swallowed up by the Milky Way. That's where we are. We also now know, by doing a reverse calculation of the trajectory of this Sagittarius merger, that we, this solar system that we're in, didn't come from the Milky Way. We are actually aliens here. We don't even belong in this galaxy. So do aliens exist? They're all sitting right here. We're the aliens. So the Sagittarius dwarf is another galaxy that's being consumed gravitationally and merging in with the Milky Way. And exactly at the point where it meets is where we are. Now, what's interesting about that, in the astrophysical books, you discover that in the early creation of this solar system, there were all kind of rogue planets and rogue suns flowing through here, wreaking havoc and creating disasters and everything else. Guess what the Enuma Elish says? The same exact thing. Again, ancient tablets, thousands of years old. Modern science tells you the same exact story. It's the same exact.
Bro, them ancient civilizations was something else. Like, they was tapped in more than we are. We just now get into a point where we realizing certain things that, lo and behold, these ancient civilizations already stated or put out there in tablets and everything, like wherever. There's countless of them.
Story. So we had a planet named Tiamat back then. Tiamat was this massive planet, 4 to 6 times larger than the Earth, a water-bearing planet with land, and in my opinion, most likely life. One of the biggest theories that I have when you talk about these miners that go into these deep shafts, and depending on how many layers down, you can tell how many millions of years back you're going in time. 3 million years, 4 million years, 500 million years, they found a vase. 200 million years, they found a hammer. They're finding all these tools and vases and all these incredible anomalies at hundreds of millions of years and back in time, depending on the depth of the anomaly, right, in the shaft. How can that be if human beings have only really been Homo sapien and creating tools for maybe 200,000 years? If you
Good question. Yeah, makes a lot of sense if you ask me.
want to stretch it to maybe almost a million, okay, you can do that. But where did these anomalies come from? In my opinion, so Tiamat in the ancient texts, it was actually colliding with another moonlet of another planet that was orbiting a brown dwarf star. When it collided with Tiamat, it blew into giant pieces. That is what your asteroid belt comes from. The asteroid belt, you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, and then you have Mars, and then you have another planet, which nobody talks about, called Ceres, Ceres. There's another planet. It has more
I ain't never heard of that.
fresh water on it than Earth, by the way. Then after Ceres, you have the asteroid belt.
How have we not heard about this? It has more fresh water on the planet than Earth, and it's just in our galaxy or solar system, wherever, just chilling, and nobody said nothing. Damn. You know now at least.
Belt, okay? The asteroid belt is a exploded planet. It was Tiamat in ancient times. The ancients said this. Now, this is interesting because the Earth didn't exist yet at the time that Tiamat was here. They said that Tiamat was so beautiful that the glow from the sun reflecting on it rivaled the sun's glory. How could they know that? How could they know that if the Earth wasn't here? What perspective did they see this planet from? What planet did they look at it from? We don't know. But what's interesting is that was a statement that was made in the text. And so Tiamat exploded. A giant chunk of it swung away with all the water. This is where the waters divided from the waters. It recoalesced back into what we now have called Ki, which is the Earth. We are part of another planet. That's why when you dig into this planet, millions of years in the past, layers down, you discover anomalies that shouldn't be there. Because in my opinion, this is another Billy Carson hypothesis. Those anomalies were when we were part of another planet. Those are artifacts from Tiamat that we're uncovering. You never heard anybody talk about this before. That's my whole theory. So I'm working on a show about this right now. So you see you have the way that our solar system is set up, and you have the asteroid belt right there between Mars and Jupiter. Right after Mars is a little tiny planet called Ceres. Like I said, it's hardly on any star maps or anything.
Yo, that look fire, bro. If it's really like that, that's fire.
But that right there, that what you're looking at, what they call the hammered bracelet in the Bible and other texts, the ancients have known about it for eons. That is actually remnants of Tiamat, an exploded planet. And this right here is actually a NASA image from nasa.gov. It shows the path of a brown dwarf star. You can kind of see it in the lower corner, passing through our solar system. Okay, now this brown dwarf star, they've now actually found it. They've labeled it a planet, to not call it a star. They call it Planet 9. It actually orbits in a very strange elliptical orbit. It orbits our sun now every 4,200 years, as the orbit has changed over time. What's interesting, it has a little, 6 little planets orbiting it. 6 little planets orbiting it. It says it's another solar system in our solar system. So we don't live in a solar system with.
Bro, where? Since when? Bro, we only learned about the few planets and Pluto. Like, bro, I ain't never hear of any of these other planets before. Well, I heard of Tiamat, and that's about it. So I ain't never hear no serious like. And there's other probably who knows. That's crazy though. Like
One sun, we live in a binary solar system. And so, as scientists at NASA and other space agencies started to research the skies and they launched the WISE telescope, they started to find out and realize, wow, wait a minute. Trinary and binary stars are more common than solar systems with single stars. And where are all these weird anomalies coming from? They noticed that Neptune and Saturn switched places because something came through gravitationally huge and made it switch orbits. We know this because we can actually rewind the orbiting clock with a computer simulation and find out all the original orbits. Something passed by so abrupt it caused Mercury to slow down its spin on its axis. This is where the astronomer came forward on this actual clip here. This is a screenshot of it. And he said astronomers discovered dwarf planet 7.5 billion miles from the sun. Now, what they don't say on that little line there in the actual clip, the astronomer says that it's orbiting its own star, a brown dwarf star. And so I said, what if our sun is orbiting something that's creating this? And that's how I dug and found that we actually have a brown dwarf orbiting us, but it's not like it's mainstream news. But if you go into the science books, it's actually there.
it's definitely not on mainstream news because I ain't never heard about that. Yeah, granted, like I wasn't really. I mean, I was into astronomy and all that when I was a little kid or a young kid, early teens and stuff. But I haven't really tuned back into that. But I mean, I dabbled and dabbled, but um, obviously not enough to know about the stuff we learn about now. And I don't think we probably would have learned about it if it wasn't for Billy Carson, or at least me, because we watching it right now. There was no reports or anything about this in the news that I recall. So damn. But the more you know, though.
They hide everything in plain sight, okay? But at some point, there was a catastrophe. And this is where Thoth comes into play. Thoth is an Atlantean priest king. The Egyptians know him as Hermes. Oh, well, the Greeks know him as Hermes, but the Egyptians know him as Thoth, Jehudi to the Africans. Okay, he's basically one of the most, at the time, the most intelligent people on the planet. He taught languages to everybody. And what happened is there was a great flood before he went on this mission. And after this great flood, his father, Enki, who was also known as Thothme, told him, go back to the land of the hairy barbarians and rebuild civilization. In other words, he didn't say that civilization needed to be started there. They had already raised everybody up to a high level. They had already created basically, almost heaven on earth by the labor between the Igigi and the humans. And then they had this big catastrophe. And the mission that Enki sent them on was to bring back civilization to the planet after this global flood. Whatever this catastrophe was, it's not really truly clear exactly what it was, but it did happen. So he gets into his ship. It says he gets into the great ship of the master. It didn't say he sailed out. It said he rose into the sky until the planet disappeared, until he got to the place that he was basically his destination for his mission. And then he said he saw the great temple coming out of the mud beneath him. That means this thing is in the sky. And he descended on the land of Chem. When he descended down to the ground, he opened his doors. All this, what I'm telling you, is in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. And this exact quote that I'm giving you comes from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which is an ancient text that dates back over 36,000 years. He drops his door down. Him and his crew come out of the ship. He says the hairy barbarians came to attack him with cudgels and spears. And he said he raised his staff and he sent out a ray of vibration, striking them still as fragments of stone in the mountain. He froze them in place with a beam weapon 36,000 years ago. High-tech weaponry, 36, that didn't injure them, didn't kill them, but stopped them from attacking.
Damn. Well, I guess that's the form of a taser. Uh, it's way more effective, apparently. But that's crazy. 36,000 years ago. And we say that ancient civilizations is primitive and all that, but we not out here doing this, at least not that we know of. So it's interesting.
We have something similar right now. It's called the active denial system in the military. If you look at military active denial system, we have a device that sends out a beam. And so if somebody's coming to attack an area, rioters or whatever, they can send a beam at you that will make you stop, make you think you're on fire, make you vomit, make you sick, make you scream, make you have voices in your head. It's called the active denial system. We have the same exact technology now.
Well, I stand corrected then. Yeah, I ain't know that. But like I said, there might be a lot of stuff that we don't know about that we do have the technology for. I mean,
Now, we just rediscovered what he already had. And what's interesting is he said then he built the Great Pyramid. He claimed to have built, now he not with his own hands, okay? But he was the master architect for this structure on planet Earth, and then told once they rebuilt the land of Chem, which is Egypt before it was called Egypt, then he told his crew, he said to them, now go around the planet and duplicate what we did here. This is why when you look at this planet, no matter where you go, you're gonna
like there's pyramids. I seen. I mean, I know. I think Mexico. They have pyramids for sure. I don't know if that's Aztecs or nah. Am I bugging? Or the Mayans, something like that. But in Americas, it's like I'm pretty sure every damn or almost everywhere. I'm not sure exactly where every single cluster of pyramids are, but I do know that they exist. They exist, and there's quite a few of them.
find similar structures, the similar construction techniques, the same type of tool markings. You're going to find the same types of pyramids, all the similarities, because why? You had one master architect. And this was the mission that Thoth was on. He was the master architect post-diluvial. He was the master architect that rebuilt civilizations on this planet. And who was Thoth? He was a Atlantean priest king, okay? What's interesting about him that I love about him is that the fact that he didn't claim to have been an actual god, where some of his relatives, they actually said, you know what? Yeah, I'm God. Yeah, bow to me. Bring me these sacrifices. You know what the sacrifices were for? Because they had to eat, man. They're not going to go kill no animals. Bring me the sacrifices. So people would kill the animals and bring it to them. That's how they ate. And so what Thoth did when they would drop to his feet, he would say, rise. I'm a son of Atlantis. That's what he would say. He said, I'm a son of Atlantis. Sometimes he would call himself the son of man, just like Yeshua did in the Bible, the son of man. Not the son of God, but the son of man. Interesting.
Very interesting. Damn, it's muted. You'll probably get it.
All right, I'm back. Well, what do y'all think about that? That's one of my in the live chat. Let me see in the live chat. This one of my
I may answer that. I think it's cool, bro. Like all this stuff, I feel like it's cool, but like you can't call them primitive now after finding out this information and how it's planets in a book that was written, bro. That was written like thousands and thousands of years ago, more accurate than our own new and improved um space um main our main watchers for space, the main people who would know about space and understand what's going on in space and calculating and stuff. Like, you mean to tell me we be going outside? We be going outside of the galaxy, finding all type of different planets and stuff. Like I'm sure y'all seen videos, or I know I've seen videos of like planets that have all these crazy circumstances in the planet, like weather and all type of different stuff. But me tell me we don't know that we have other planets than the ones that we were taught in school, roaming around our galaxy, like, and it was in a book from thousands of years ago, but we didn't pick it up. That's pretty fishy to me. I ain't gonna lie. It's either one or two things. Which one you think that could be though? That's the thing. But either they trying to keep that in hiding, or they didn't find it. But how could he find it? And I'm sure they have way more funding. But I don't know. But as NASA, everybody in the world knows NASA. I'm sure they have way more funding than him, but he's able to find it with less technology. So I feel like it was uh, yeah. How could it not be the first one? Respectfully.
A fractal of one of my lectures from back in the day. Yeah, I know the sound is back now, everyone. Yeah, I just had it on mute, so I didn't want y'all to hear me, chugging down my water. But that was a fractal of one of my lectures from back in the day. I love being on stage. I love talking in front of big crowds. I think I had 2,800 people there at that event. I was speaking in Blackpool in the UK. I wasn't even in America there. That was Blackpool in the UK, about 2,800 people. Great crowd there. I had a great time talking. My lecture was about 2 hours and change. That was only about maybe 13 minutes or so, or whatever of it. It was very, obviously very cut down. But I really like speaking in front of people. I've always loved it. I've always been excited to get on stage. I've never, ever, thankfully, I've never had butterflies or nervousness when it comes to speaking in front of people. Thank
Must be nice.
goodness, because as much as I have to speak, that would suck. But maybe that came from, when I was much younger, my dad back in the 70s would take me to bars. And I was just a little kid, and he'd put me at the top of the bars, and he'd have me reciting things to his friends, biblical quotes and prayers from the Bible and all kind of texts from different books and so forth. And so at a very young age, in a weird kind of crazy way, that groomed me to be able to have no fear to speaking in front of people, So I got to give hats off to my pops for he was no longer with us, unfortunately, but as crazy as he was, he had some things that he forced me to do that really had long-term effects on who I am today, and so he was a wild guy, man. Bar fights and I mean everything you could see on a Wild Wild West TV show, it was just wild. But at the end of the day, some of the things that he put me into, forced me into, like writing book reports, summarizing TV shows, reading encyclopedias, reading dictionaries, insane at the time, right? And sometimes I really didn't want to do it. I got to admit, taking me to bars at 3 o'clock in the morning and have me speaking to his friends. It was insane. You could do that back in the 70s. There were no laws about bringing kids in bars and things like that. But at the end of the day,
Do you remember a time? I definitely don't. I'm way too young for that.
hey, though I wouldn't change a thing. It made me who I am. It made me who I am. It obviously clearly took away my fear of speaking in front of people and allowed me to be a person that's both likes to be to himself, because that was where my study and my alone time was, but at the same time, uh, ready to hop in front of a crowd and speak, which I love doing. And that was just a fractal of one of my lectures, a small clipping of a much larger lecture. And I'll do that a little bit more. I'll work in some pieces of different lectures from different time periods, going all the way back. Maybe even I can go back at least to 16 years, of lectures on these different topics and so forth. And I'm also going to get a lot more. I'm going to get back a lot more into going back into the Anunnaki. I'm going to do a YouTube Anunnaki series where we're just going in and breaking down the different time frames, the different family groups, and the different stories between them. Okay, so I'm going to start doing that as well right here on this channel. And so we're going to create this new series as I'm building towards Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed, season number 2, which is in filming right now. And I can't wait to release season 2. I will be releasing, going into editing. Season 1 will be going to post editing pretty soon. And I'd like to have that make it to the film festival if we can make it there in time. If not, I'll do probably maybe episode 5 or 4 at the film festival in a few months. I'm hosting a film festival for the first time. This is going to be great. You'll be able to submit your films. All of your films can be submitted there, and they will be evaluated and judged right there at the festival. The winner will get a plethora of benefits, not only an award, but also a plethora of benefits, including a connection with a producer, the ability to put your content into production, long-term potential production agreements and everything else to create a series and all that good stuff. So that's filmfaster48.com. I'll type it in the live chat. If you're a producer, if you're a creator, filmfaster48.com. Film faster. I can't barely see the keyboard either. 48.com. There we go. I think I typed it in there right. Okay. Filmfaster48.com. And you can submit your short. I think it has to be no more than 10 minutes. Okay. No more than 10 minutes. There are several different genres in there. So you can choose a genre and you can submit your content. And then you can come to the film festival. We're going to play it on the big screen and have your friends and family show up to support you as well. Okay. Have your friends and family show up and let's come out and let's have a great time. It's going to be phenomenal. All right. The dates and everything, the rules and all of that, filmfaster48.com. So go ahead and submit your content and then come on out to the film festival and let's make history together. Okay. It's going to be great. Going to be great. So I'm really excited about this new Anunnaki YouTube series where I'll be really going back into the Anunnaki and teaching. I know a lot of the clips that y'all have seen about me talking about the Anunnaki pretty much have been me on other people's podcasts, which is great. I've been on Joe Rogan and I've been on so many podcasts. Some of them I've been on several times, and PBD and Concrete Podcast, Matt Bell's podcast. Just so many, Next Level Soul and so many others. There are just so many. I can't even name them all. Most recently I was on Killer Mike. I did a great podcast with Killer Mike. If you want to check that out, go check out the Killer Mike podcast I did just a few months ago. It was amazing. But, a lot of these clips, which have now reached over 2 billion views, if you combine them all together, have done really, really great over social media. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing my own clips on the these beings, these ancient beings of old, the Anuna, aka / Anunnaki / many other names. And I'll be reading some from my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and the Forbidden Emerald Tablets, which is my other book. I'll even be going into the Fractal Holographic Universe, which is another one of my books, and the Epic of Humanity, which I co-wrote with Matthew LaCroix, which is another one of my books as well. Okay. So yeah, yes, I did speak on David Wilcock. I spoke about David Wilcock. I saw somebody in the live chat asking about David Wilcock. I spoke about David Wilcock the other day, and also on my Instagram account, and I think I went live on YouTube a few days ago. Unfortunate situation. The data is still coming out on David Wilcock. We don't fully know everything that has happened. We have some fragments. So we have some of the 911 call. We have some claims made by police. We don't have a full understanding. There's a autopsy being done. Actually the autopsy was done today, which I don't have the data on yet. I'm waiting to get the data from somebody on that. And we'll kind of see what might have potentially happened to David Wilcock. For those of you who don't know, he's a researcher, a metaphysicist, scientist, not a scientist in terms of had gone to a major university to get a scientist degree, a scientific degree, but through research, investigation, study, which to me is the best degree you can get in the world. Had been in a lot of TV shows, documentaries. I had been on a lot of shows with him, Deep Space and Gaia, Ancient Civilizations on Gaia, Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, and so I've worked with him and been around him over the years. Just curious to find out some more data as to what might have happened to him. So yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully we'll get some more information soon. One thing I do want to say to everyone is over the last 6 months, I've lost 4 former colleagues, right? 4. And then on the other hand, I lost another 4 actual friends. That's 8 people that I've lost in the last 6 months. And so I was just walking on the beach the other day, reflecting on life, reflecting on my life, reflecting on the ancients from the past and all the stories that they've left behind, realizing that these stories that they left behind are, encoded conscious thoughts for us to decode, left from people whose energy has long since been transformed. And one day, all of the energy from our immediate family members will be transformed. And then, which I've already experienced that a lot in my family, I found that once you get to the age I'm at, which is, I'll be 55 in September, you start seeing a lot of people exiting, a lot of energies of people that you knew exiting this world and in some way being transformed, right? We call it death, we call it whatever. But you start seeing a lot more of it. And man, I've seen so much of it in the last few years, but it's like really accelerating here, and think about it. In 2024, I even died. I died for 15 minutes in the hospital down the street from here, coming back from Turkey with pneumonia. My organs went into failure. So I was strong enough to make it back. I was at the precipice. I was at the complete edge of transformation and came back and crossed over and saw the other side, or experienced some of what is on the other side. And it just makes you reflect and think like, wow, we have to really appreciate every moment. We have to really appreciate, all of the blessings that we've been given over time, and also to reflect on a lot of the goodness and the good times, because our minds are triggered to see everything bad because it's a survival mechanism. Our minds want us to survive any type of a catastrophe, a potential attack, starvation, and all these things. So we're tuned into negativity to spot it, right? Instantaneously. It's the way that the human mind is designed for survival mode. It doesn't recognize that this is 2026. So things like negative comments on social media, negative comments in the live chat, people doing things on the news, we see on the news, whatever it may be. And they do a good job of showing mostly negativity because they know that that's going to trigger our fear response. And they know that once we're in that fear mode, they can manipulate us into doing anything and accept anything, right? So I'm just recognizing, though, over the last, 6 months, man, just to really just think about a lot of the good things that have happened in your life, reflect on them. I've lived over a half a century already, which is just mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling that I've lived over a half a century. And when I look back, I feel like I've lived many lifetimes, just looking back at all the things and all the different stages of my life, It's like, well, I can go all the way back, and each one of those situations, each one of those realities seems like a totally different lifetime. Even more recently, I feel like I've shifted timelines again, and I'm in another new lifetime, even though I'm just heading into this, this 55 number, being now divorced just over a year, slightly over a year, being moved out of that relationship now more than a year. It's been basically coming up on a year and a half, and legally being divorced just a little over a year. And so now I began my life again. So now I've already shifted into this next chapter, into this next timeline, into this next reality. And so we'll see these many different shifts through life, and these transformations. And we have to recognize that we can't take for granted all the opportunities, all the great things, all the beautiful moments, all the people that we've been able to meet and greet and talk to and encounter, and just some of the smaller things, Just recognize the sunrise, recognize the sunset, recognize the moon, recognize that you took a trip somewhere, and it could have been anywhere. It could have been a local trip to go see a family. It could have been a staycation. It could have been a trip out of the country. But not to be so wrapped up in whatever activity is going on, but to also kind of be present in the moment and just absorb it. Just absorb it. Just disconnect from the mechanical aspect of these moments sometimes, and then just become the observer, right? And just observe everything from a higher thought, conscious place, and be like,
He explained how to, like, the precise steps to staying, in the present moment.
wow, okay, this is pretty cool. And just take it all in sometimes. Just take it in, Just take it in, absorb it, and just kind of express and feel the internal gratitude for that moment or those moments. And even if those moments have passed, the beautiful thing about this life is that you can send your mind back, because the mind is outside of space and time. And we know that at higher dimensions, the past, present, and future exist all at once. So in that case, you can send your mind back in time, and you can reflect on good things that have happened, fun that you've had, different experiences that you had before. You might even remember seeing a grasshopper, in your yard. Even that's a great moment to just experience and see and remember and reflect on. Even in past relationships, try to reflect and remember some of the good things, even if they might have ended badly, but there had to have been some good. Because why? Because you were together. So reflect on those good things as well. Think about positivity. Find ways to reflect on things that had an impact on your life in a positive way. And one thing about this technique that I learned was, if you're having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, if you're feeling bad in the moment, if you stop and just find a place to sit down, take 10 deep breaths, and then go back and reflect on things that really impacted your life in a positive way, and like close your eyes and actually replay those things, like relive them. and bring them to the top of mind and experience them all over again virtually, which we have the capability of doing. We're the first uh, beings to have a virtual machine on this planet. We could play that virtual reality without those big goggles inside of our mind's eye. Relive it, but don't just relive it. Also express gratitude. Move into the feeling of gratitude for whatever it is that you're reflecting on and bringing back to the top. And when you do that, you are going to feel so good. And that will shift you from the bad day, the bad week, the bad month, the bad cycle that you might be in. It can literally raise your vibration because you've shifted your vibration from frustration, anger, anxiety, hate. You've moved it into gratitude, which is way more powerful and a much higher vibration. And, this is why I love studying the ancient texts and ancient civilizations, because there are some great works of art, even like reading the Epic of Gilgamesh and the story of him, going on this hero's journey through the wilderness and some of the things he's speaking about and experiencing on this journey. It's like he's reflecting and he's in the present moment and he's taking it all in. It's just, these stories they can teach us a lot. Metaphorically, they can teach us a lot. And that's why I love studying them so much, because it's a reflection of us. And if you can find yourself in that reflection, you can then learn how to apply some of those things to your life today. So I'm really excited about this new series, and I'll be doing this new Anunnaki series. I will probably start this new Anunnaki series. It'll have to be next week. I'll get ready for it, and it'll probably be just maybe once a week. I'll do another segment, But again, I'm building towards this season 2 of Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. Season 1 is on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. If you don't have the app, go ahead and get the app on 4BK, the number 4BK.tv. And then you can go to the App Store.
Yeah, he got his own app and everything. That's what's up. I'm gonna have to tune in.
Or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app with the number 4 on iOS and also on the Android. Get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. But yeah, I'll be doing that. And but yeah, just this kind of went off on a tangent because somebody mentioned David Wilcock. We lost Nick Pope. I'm working on a very special tribute for Nick Pope right now. I'm going to make that video and release a tribute to Nick Pope. We've lost so many people, over the years. Philip Coppens, Eric Von Daniken, who handed me the torch, which is very, very, very powerful, to get that from him and to be able to spend time with him before he passed away in Switzerland. I went to his house and everything. And just so many other greats. When an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. And what I'd like to see and what I'd like to involve more in some of my podcasts and talks in these ancient civilizations is I want to include and involve more women. There are a couple of that I have found that have really done the research and studied these ancient stories and became great researchers. So I'm going to bring them on more. We have Dr. Teresa Bullard-Weick, who's a quantum physicist that got into ancient wisdom teachings. She's phenomenal. Christina Bruno, she's an up and coming superstar in this ancient text, and also just trying to awaken people and make them see what's really going on behind the veil, other than the ancient text. But she's great. She's great at talking about ancient texts. So I'll bring her on. And looking for a few others. I found another one through Brother Richard at Radiohead Rich. I got to get a hold of him. There was a young lady on one night when I was on with him. I'll bring her on. I just want to get some more feminine energy balanced out on these topics. I'm looking forward to doing that. And also, I got to get Blue Pill and Red Pill and a few others, super classic living legends on the podcast. So I'm going to bring them on too. And then I have this new special series I'm going to be doing on motivation and inspiration. I'll be bringing on athletes, pro athletes and actors and and business people that have moved and done things at a very high level so that we can all kind of hear their perspective on life, how they view things, how they overcame battles and situations and hurdles and being blindsided, and how they were able to overcome and and become successful, or either lose everything and then become successful again. We need to understand their mindset. We need to understand their mindset and how they see life, and how they're able to overcome battles and get to the top again. Because there's a lot of learning lessons in those stories that we can all absorb and discern and apply to our lives. I'll be doing that. And my new app is coming out very soon, Date Conscious. It's in a beta testing mode right now. It's a conscious dating app that I've been working on for over a year and a half, and the app is just about ready. And to go along with that app, I will be launching a podcast. Okay, so that's going to be great. I'll be doing that podcast, and I'll be doing that with Cetrus Foster, and we're going to be doing the Date Conscious podcast together. And for those of you who don't know, that is my new girlfriend. And we've been together now for probably about 7 months. And we're going to launch this podcast together. We're going to be talking about the rise and fall of our own relationships. And I think giving people a perspective. I think it's good to get a perspective from people who have been there, have had some success and had some failures. And what about this app helps us? It's an app that's designed to not just find somebody. The app is designed to help you engage in better and deeper conversations when you meet somebody or somebody that you're already with. It's for
I'm not gonna lie, that was the last thing I expected. Like a dating app from Billy Carson, but that's cool. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder how that'll be. And that was unexpected completely.
people who are already married, or people who are just met, people who are newlyweds, or people who are just dating. There is an actual psychological game inside the app that links both parties together and allows the app takes an intake form on you, and then it creates these questions for you to ask the other person, and then that person to ask you, to create better, deeper communication so that you can really find out who this person is at a much deeper level. And that's really
Yo, that sounds like a. That sounds. I ain't never heard no dating app like that, bro. Like that definitely sound like it'll be less toxic. Uh, way more six or higher success rate.
important, especially when you're just meeting somebody and you're just dating somebody. A lot of the times the conversations are very surface and you don't get to the deeper conversations till much later, but by then it could be too late. Happened to me quite a few times. Time me learn my. So I developed this app. This app is
Too
also a
late.
great help and assistant for me. And then also for people who've been together, it takes them into a much deeper connection. So it's not just about finding a date or dating someone or finding somebody to create a conversation with. It's also about linking up with somebody you're already with within the app. The app can sync together on their device and yours, and it initiates all these deep conversational questions that most people never think about asking or are afraid to ask. And I'm gonna tell you something. It makes it much easier when you can blame it on the device. This is what it told me to ask you, and now you've got to wait and get that answer. There's also some funny things, some deep things, and even some more intimate things. There's an upgrade to the app where it'll force you into intimate questions, which is also another big problem within a lot of relationships. People are scared to express intimacy and what they really are looking for and what they want, or what makes them feel good and what doesn't make them feel good, and things like that. So the app is also designed to trigger those intimacy questions so that couples can become even deeper on the intimacy level. So that's all coming soon. Got a lot of great things planned for.
Bruh, I'm not gonna lie, I'm blown away by that advertisement or promotion. It's a better word, but I ain't never hear of such a sophisticated dating app like that, like psychologically, hearing people. I mean, certain dating apps, they do um ask you questions or like try to align people with same interests and all that, but like this is a whole nother level. And I was not expecting a dating app, but that's what's up though.
Forbidden knowledge, okay? Because it's all about really um, widening your sphere of knowledge around all things conscious. If it's not just about ancient civilizations. As a matter of fact, I laugh a lot when I make posts. Like the other day, I made a post. I was referencing the evil that's going on behind the scenes in government. And a person commented, like, you need to just stick to ancient civilizations and aliens. Well,
Yo, bro, there's always that one person around. Like, bro, if you want him to do that so bad, why don't you do it? You could do it. I'm sure I'm sure somebody will want to see that, maybe. Who knows? But people feel entitled to tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do with your life, and it probably has nothing to do with them. Like, I don't get that part at all.
I didn't start this whole path talking about ancient civilizations and aliens. I started this whole path exposing government corruption, exposing the evil matrix, and talking about aliens and ancient civilizations. And so, the funny thing about people is they always want, because I have a platform and I have a big voice, they always want their opinion to come out of my mouth. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Your opinion will never come out of it. You're free to form your own opinion. You are free to make your own grow your own platform and make your own videos. And you can even go out there and you can, say, I don't agree with Billy Carson. Okay. It's a free will universe. That's okay. It doesn't bother me one bit. Go out there and make all your videos. I mean, I don't like what he said about this. This is my opinion. Okay, have at it. Have at it. But I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I already done died and came back. You're talking to a man that's been shot, stabbed. I've been in the cars, 2 car accidents that were crushed so badly they had to take me out of the car with the jaws of life. And I grew up, I made it out of the hood, out of the ghetto. I'm still here. So all this cyber stuff, it don't affect me any kind of way. To me, that's like, okay. That's like a mosquito landing on my hand. Get out of here. It's time to move on to the next one. So, but yeah, I'll be doing these talks. I'll be talking about the Emerald Tablets, the Epic of Humanity, the Forbidden Tablets. I'll be going into the cymatic frequencies and vibrations. I'll be going into some of the new discoveries as well. So I'll be, every week or two, there's another new ancient civilization discovery that's hardly ever talked about. You'll find some of these posts on X. I mean, the researchers on X do a great job in posting about these things, but I want to give some commentary to them, a little bit of commentary. So I'll be bringing those up and doing some commentary. I'll probably make those into shorts, and just a whole new string of content coming your way very, very soon. All right. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I hope y'all really enjoyed my little mini lecture, a little fragment of my lecture from a few years ago in Blackpool. I think that was probably 4 years ago now in Blackpool, either 3 or 4 years ago. The time just flies, man. Just Father Time has never lost a battle, I tell you that. But I'll be doing some more of those little clips and segments from some of my past work within my life, so y'all can see what it's like to experience, some of these events. Of course, you can only experience them virtually from a screen, but it's kind of good to kind of peer into the energy, the atmosphere, kind of what it's like, my speaking style, how I am when I'm on stage and things like that. All right. Anyway, I've been dropping a link in the live chat all night long, and that link, it will link you to my my VIP mentoring group. If you'd like a chance to get into my VIP mentoring group, you can click that link and fill out the intake form. And let's see which one of my mentoring programs is right for you. You can also join the 4BK Academy for free and free for 7 days and come in there and learn a lot. So I just dropped the link in the live chat. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live free webinar tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. I will go live for a free webinar, and you can click that link and register, and you'll be able to join my free webinar tomorrow. It's a private closed circuit. It's not on YouTube. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I do these teaching sessions, and it will not be open to YouTube. It's a private link. It doesn't cost you any money. It's totally free. And I'd love to see you there tomorrow night. All right. Thank y'all for hanging out. Again, please click the like button on this video and share it. And also, please, if you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, we'd love to get this channel to 2 million subs. We're at about close to 1.3 million now. We'd like to get it to 2 million subs. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
I bet. So that's the video. Let me know down in the comments if you learned anything new. I for sure have. Let me know if you enjoyed or you didn't enjoy. That's cool too. Um, and yeah. I hope you guys having a good day or night whenever you watching this, and continue to have it for the rest of the duration. And yeah, I'm grateful for you guys for being here watching this video with me, learning with me, and you feel me, like classmates or something like that, but learn it together. But yeah, um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I learned a lot. I like, I like I really like that dating app idea. That's cool. That seems like it's gonna be very successful. Um, I like of course, you already know I love the learning about more about ancient civilizations and space and stuff like that, history. I love all that. So yeah, I learned a lot. But that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed once again, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.